Good
We are
morning.
live. Good morning. Good
Good
morning,
afternoon. Good
starting.
evening.
Yeah, it's like evening here in Dubai. We're on the opposite side of the world, doing it all. You guys are in LA, right? And which time zone is it
We're
now?
LA, Portland, and North Carolina, Nick. You are muted.
I think you're muted.
Okay.
I'm in North Carolina.
Yeah. So all over the states.
Nice. Obviously, I see the chat already
Good
lining up.
morning, Max.
Hey Max, what's up? We have Hilson here, GM. How's everyone doing? I'm really excited about this stream. We obviously, we've been on stage before, and I thought of maybe organizing, a new one and have, a more like in-depth conversation on, your perspective on things, on, like how you see the industry. I named this stream "What's the Next Hollywood," and I thought it would be really cool to talk about the entertainment industry. There are so many different overlaps with crypto, especially when it comes to like distribution, entertainment. You know, if you look at what's happening in crypto right now, we see a lot of push for um, content and content creators. There's content houses popping up all over the world, especially in LA. We've seen quite a few. There is definitely a big overlap in that sense of turning this small industry into also a more mature, and this means having a whole more developed ecosystem around. And so I know you guys have been building in crypto and have come from the entertainment industry to crypto, which is kind of like the other way around. People are trying to do the other way these days, right? They're trying to like start in crypto and then like become kind of like grow out of this niche. But you guys did the other way. Before we actually start, I'm going to obviously give the mic over to Gregg, Nick, Jane, and we have Mark here. You guys are legends. We have like years of experience in producing and movies, and you guys have done like so many of what are now obviously considered like cult movies. Like who hasn't seen the Lord of the Rings, and Blair Witch Project, and like Disney movies and so on. So I think it's about time that we start with a little round of introductions. Who wants to start?
Go ahead,
Jane,
Greg.
go, Jane, go.
Okay. Hi, I'm Jane Fleming. I've been in the entertainment business for a long, long time. Probably longer than Cam's been alive. But I am business partners with Mark Ordesky. We worked together at New Line Cinema back in the sort of golden era of New Line in the 90s, and we're involved in as a corporation in movies like The Mask and Dumb and Dumber and Seven, and of course the Freddy Krueger movies, and then of course Lord of the Rings. We now have a production company, and most recently just dropped the sort of mega kids franchise Zombies 4, which is streaming now on Disney Plus, and has kicked off, talk about IP, which we'll get into, has kicked off a 50 city arena tour, which the kids are on right now. So I kick it off to Mark, I guess would be the most obvious next one.
Yeah, well, like everything that Jane said, times two, and I'll hook it around because we connect to Gregg going back even before the Blair Witch Project, when we met at the Sundance Film Festival in 1999, when the Blair Witch Project was premiering, and Jane and I were at New Line. And then we have done film and television projects together in the years since, and up to including this moment now with Emerald Anvil and Battle for Hada.
Go, Nick.
Okay, so I'm just a crypto guy.
Not the crypto guy.
I'm not in Hollywood at all. I used to live in LA, but yeah, I've just been messing with crypto since like 2013. So I've just that's my role in it, and I'll push it off to Gregg.
Can we? No, wait.
What?
That's it.
What?
Yeah, come
You
on,
could do
dude.
better
You
than
gotta,
that, Nick.
you
What?
gotta give your whole.
Come on, Nick.
Got such a great history with crypto. You gotta fucking get in there and like.
Okay.
By the way,
So, so I got pulled in crypto by my weird shady roommate who ended up taking me to China, and I was like hanging out with all these like mob bosses and mafia people in Thailand and stuff, and that freaked me out. I came back to the United States and I helped invent NFTs in 2017, and and I wrote like the first NFT smart contract or one of the first NFT smart contracts in 2017. And I've been,
And has the patent for it. So there you go.
it's true. I do. Everybody.
patented it.
Yeah. You're all infringing on my patent. Everybody. Just so you know, I haven't exercised that, but no, it's true. But yeah. So then I started helping with a bunch of NFT projects. I ended up talking like Mark Cuban and all these people like when NFTs first started, launching, getting off, and then like I kind of like taught a bunch of these like people how to use NFTs, and then they went off and did NFT stuff without me and left me broke. And then so then
classic crypto story.
yeah. Oh man, I know so many people who got rich that are not me. From NFTs and crypto. So and so I helped some NFT projects, and then I hooked up with these guys through various connections, and it's been a pretty cool project because it's definitely more legit and more like I guess there's more meat on the bone here than probably like 99% of the NFT and crypto projects out there. So this is a cool one to be part of, and these guys are all incredible, and they're involved in like so much cool media that we all know. So I think it's pretty fun for me, and it's not like shady. I don't have to deal with any Chinese mob bosses or anything. It's great.
That you know of.
You never know where life takes you.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
That's just an average crypto guy for you, Nick. You sell yourself very well.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty typical.
Yeah, I'm Gregg. You can see my here, my Star Wars poster there, signed Star Wars poster by Gregg Hildebrandt. Wanted to be a filmmaker since I was 11 years old because of Star Wars. And I've kind of, spent almost my whole adult life after I got out of the Army in 1989. Pretty much my whole adult life has been some sort of being some sort of creator. So I mean, people probably know me. If you know me, it would be from Blair Witch Project, unless you're like a huge horror fan. But, done movies, done television. I started an advertising agency where we did live events, and I've done comic books. I've even written like theme park rides. So just kind of like, found weird places to express myself creatively. And when Mark and Jane and I got Emerald Anvil, which is the overall story world that we're exploring, when we got that going, Jane, I knew what NFTs were, but not really. And Jane introduced me to the concept, and then got Nick involved. And I've kind of felt like from the very beginning that, digital collectibles or ordinals, which I don't think ordinals even existed when we started doing Emerald Anvil at first, is just a super exciting place to be a creator, right? It feels kind of like the cutting edge of how you can express creative ideas and put those out into the world. So super cool. It's very exciting. It's very challenging because it's a lot to learn. I feel like I'm kind of still getting overwhelmed with data, but it's super cool world.
I love that you've all been in some ways like working together, at least in an adjacent way, like for years. It's you've probably seen, and also like witnessing an industry kind of like really at its like golden age and then evolve like from there, right? There's a lot of talk right now about like how Hollywood is changing, the movie industry is changing. Like we've obviously evolved from, having movies to series. Netflix came in. kind of like change those formats and so on. And right now, like obviously a lot of people have been used to watching series. This has been like ongoing for, I think, since I was a kid, like, the OC, and started with like those, and like, and it just became, kind of like part of, just life, really, just been watching series and obviously movies. And now, unfortunately, I feel like we don't really go to the movies that much anymore, but it's still like a really fun experience. I recently actually went to see F1. I watched it twice. It was, I don't know, what do you guys think of that movie? Is it like Hollywood approved, or I don't know? I just thought it was
Oh
like
yeah.
really
Oh
good.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
only
yeah, for
approval
sure.
the only approval that Hollywood gives a shit about is how much money it makes, and it's making a ton of money. So
Yeah, and the
but
way
I thought
movies
it was
like that
very
make,
entertaining.
yeah, the way that movies like that make money is you need to motivate people out of their homes.
Yeah,
And I think that's actually a really relevant kind of
yeah,
underlying theme for this whole live stream
yeah,
is
yeah.
there's content that motivates you out of your home to spend time, to spend money, to meet friction. And there's content that you're still excited about, but you'd rather consume it at home on your computer, on your smart TV. And that's really kind of that. It's the fracturing and fragmentation of media that we're really talking about.
And like,
Yeah, and
what
I
does
also
it
think
take?
it's about the consumer engagement, right? There's so many different ways for consumers to engage, which is sort of a corollary thought to what Mark and Greg are saying. And I think it's our job as storytellers to find the level, the place, the quality of the engagement with the consumer. And because once you actually succeed at that, if you're willing to keep servicing that relationship, it's pretty extraordinary what can happen on any level, right? And in any media, which we can talk about later. But yes, Hollywood traditionally, as we've discussed, like films and television, it is changing at a really stratospheric rate. I was laughing, talking about like the 90s and how seasoned we all are. I mean, the beautiful part is we're all new because everything's changing so fast. I mean, it's you might as well, we have the experience we have from the past, but the future is completely wide open, and I think there's a level playing field for anybody that wants to be a storyteller.
And so, like, what does it take for, a movie to get people out of their homes? And I agree with you. It's really hard. Like, I've become much more of a home person. Like, if I can watch something on my TV in the comfort of my home, before I actually go to the movies, it's going to take a lot for me to, do that, buy the ticket. Although I really enjoy the experience, like Dubai has like insane movie theaters where you can like order all sorts of like food and drinks, and you're literally like, it feels like you're just in business class, pretty much like laying there in like a small movie. They really do it well, but these movie theaters, especially the ones with more like curated experiences, like really struggle to survive with only screenings. And what they do is they organize events, just like other type of events, pretty much. So, like, what does it take today? What are the steps that you guys, for example, need to like envision when you're starting a new project? Like, how are you guys planning this out? Like, what makes today like entertainment worth going to see, not just from your phone, right? Or the TV at home?
I think
Mark,
it's
take it.
yeah, I think it's hard to say it that clearly. I think if you're looking at it from the studio's perspective, there's a lot of different ways to look at it. Like, for example, the movie that Jane and I just did for Disney, Zombies 4, which was made for streaming and was the number one, content on the entire Disney Plus platform for its
Nice.
week of release, is considered a huge success. So I think it's about knowing what your audience is. But if you're going to make something for the cinema, then the word you got to have in your mind is event. And that doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily have to mean a $300 million Avengers Endgame or F1 or those kinds of things, because even original content, like our friend Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi, who run Warner Brothers, had a film called Sinners out just a few months ago, which was not an IP movie. It was original, and it still motivated people out of the cinema. So I think if you're in the content game, you kind of have to be looking at a mosaic approach where everything you're seeing, some things are meant for the cinema and some things can still be huge successes, even not in the cinema.
And I think, yeah, event cinema, like something that's exciting. I think also if it is original content, a real distinctive vision. Mark and I have been talking a lot that as consumer engagement is sort of fractured and everybody's sort of getting their entertainment in different ways, that at the end of the day, point of view of a storyteller becomes that much more important. Because if you're making something small, or niche, then it really has to have a point of view to engage with the consumers on that level. And then if it's going to be really gigantic and eventized, it also needs a point of view on how to do that. But what no longer serves is just middle of the road content. I mean, people will consume it, but we don't think it's necessarily the things that will go down in history. The things that will go down in cinematic and entertainment history or game history or book history or even ordinals history is going to be the stuff that has a real point of view and takes its consumers dead seriously. Because I think that, consumers deserve, if you're going to take somebody's time and money, then we owe it to them to give them something really distinctive.
Yeah, and like obviously, I'm coming from a marketing perspective, as I run Mood Labs, and this is kind of like what we do, right? We think of ways to how do we translate basically the message to an audience in a way that feels natural, organic, that ultimately influences into taking action, whatever that action is, whether it's like buying something or joining a server, whatever it is for crypto, right? The thing is, like, obviously our generation, the future generations, they've been used to advertising, and there's been like different ways of advertising that have come. So like creating content that has this effect on people is becoming not tougher and tougher, but you really have to be aware of like what the trends are, like what are people doing, how are they viewing content, how do they want to receive content, like what format, which channel. Like we are also we're definitely moving towards definitely more live kind of content, and like the streaming that we're doing, this is like just live content that ultimately gets can be shared in different ways. Like for example, for a movie, you do need to find a way to distribute that image to get people to go. Like, what are the kind of channels that you guys are using? Or is it more like TikTok? I know you're like pushing a lot on these like shorts. I remember when you told me that you launched like when the Zombies 4 launched, you had a whole sort of like viral moment, like organic campaign that kind of like basically like sprung out of it, where people were recording themselves crying. What was that?
Well, I don't think, we were on opening weekend, because of TikTok, people love to share their experience of them enjoying content. And for the opening weekend, literally like almost every other TikTok was women and girls crying. Because there's a particular scene in the movie that is terribly moving. It really is. Mark and I have watched the movie 100 times, and it still gets us, and it involves two beloved characters, Zed and Addison, and all of these women just sobbing, and then people kept recording themselves having the emotional reaction of the movie. That was the first round, and now dancing is a musical, and so all of there are these extraordinary dancers all around the world that are picking up the dances, and of all ages. We've seen a 4-year-old to a 60-year-old doing dancing, and there's something about allowing communities of people to take the initiating piece of content and then make it their own, and then have the community that's being built from it. It's a really gratifying thing to watch in real time, because having grown up a long time ago in the business, you used to release a movie and really all you had were the numbers to tell you how people were enjoying and engaging with the content. We had a few pieces of content, obviously Lord of the Rings, but before that, Austin Powers, where we used to do at New Line, we would do midnight screenings of Austin Powers, and all these people would come dressed up, and and that's an incredibly gratifying thing to be a part of when you've been a storyteller, because it means that people are inviting, not only did they watch it, but they're inviting the content into their lives. And that's fandom. And we really, Mark and I and Gregg love our fans. We think it's where everything begins and ends. So if you've been lucky enough to tell a story that engages people and they invite you into their lives, that's it's sort of, I think, why we stay in this business, which is challenging.
Yeah, and there's definitely a parallel with that with crypto, right? Like at the end of the day, when you're creating a community, when you're creating a project in a way, you need to empower your audience to be able to make content themselves. A lot of the time in crypto, it's memes, rather than like actual like real life content. Most people live on Twitter and so on, but there's still other channels, in my opinion, that are under sort of like used in some ways, that for some type of like content could be definitely leveraged in a way. Like we're seeing a whole wave of streaming right now, like surge, and obviously the clips obviously end up on YouTube or on TikTok and so on, but it's still like very, very early and so on, at least for crypto. You've been in the space for some time, like especially like coming up with the launch of Battle for Hale. I was wondering if because there's so many parallels, in your opinion, like how is crypto not utilizing channels well, or is it something you've noticed that in terms of an industry, are we doing well, or are we missing out on something in terms of like marketing? Obviously there's a lot of like hype building, it's all these like hype cycles, like very quick sort of launches and so on, and attention like just jumps from one place to another, which in a way is similar to Hollywood, right? But in your opinion, have you noticed, like, is there something that in your opinion like the crypto industry isn't doing, or at least marketeers like not leveraging when it comes to launching a project, whether it's it's a collection, it can be anything? And Nick, feel free to join in. I mean, you've been in the space for quite some time, especially from
I mean, I
on the
think we're too early in our learning like curve to sort of identify sort of gaps. I think that we've been really, I mean, and Gregg, you should speak to this too, but we've been so hardened and excited about the space and about the crypto community, because it does feel like you said it really wisely, Camski, like it feels like an intersection of fandom and people that are like investing. It's such an interesting community, but what we love about it is that people are so supportive, they're so excited, they're excited about new things. It feels like there's sort of open source like to play with, and that people are gonna they love experimentation, and so we get really excited about that, which is one of the things we were attracted to. Gregg, do you want to talk to that? You are muted, my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I think right, this is just like, again, there's so much to learn and I'm such a newbie, but my kind of observation is, I think when we're talking about like mass media, right? Like how does crypto or ordinals, which is really all I know about, is the very little that I know about ordinals. I don't know anything about crypto writ large, so I have a very limited point of view. But when we're talking about, at least my experience with what we're trying to do with ordinals and then how that relates to mass media, to me, it kind of feels like right now, it's a little bit of greatest strength, greatest weakness, right? The greatest strength of the ordinals community is that community. And it is like a fandom, right? It is this very intense, very energetic, very, plugged in audience, but it's also kind of a limiting audience, it feels like right now, because there are, and all fandoms do this. This is not just Ordinals. Fandoms like to feel exclusive, right? You like to feel like you're an insider. And I think right now Ordinals is kind of insular in a really cool way. Again, greatest strength, greatest weakness. It's kind of insular in a way. So it's kind of like this closed community, because there's lots of barriers to entry for like your average person, right? Like the average
Is that raw?
consumer.
Wait. I gotta interrupt. Is raw? Is that good, Francis, or is that bad?
No.
Is that bad?
Just want to give, like, honestly, like, Francis has just joined Binance, which is the largest exchange, and congrats. Just want to say, like, really big career move. Really proud. Yeah, he used to work for Ordzar, which was another marketplace that now is like switching off to a different type of mints. So yeah, been in Ordinals. He's a OG in the Ordinal space. So very cool. But yeah, I don't know what is raw.
Is raw a positive, or is that a thumbs down for Greg's point of view? Oh well, we'll find
I
out.
think raw is random utterance. It's like, yes, let's go.
But I think if mass adoption, because a lot of people have been talking about, like, in relation to what we're trying to do with Battle for Hada, if mass adoption is the goal, right? If you're comparing Ordinals to mass media, you don't want that barrier to entry, right? Like,
well, except that we'll have a live debate. Part of what I love about the ordinal space is the limitations of the crypto space, because what we're trying to do, since we only have a limited amount of land in the Battle of Hada that we're selling, that we're going to create, right? That people are going to own a limited amount. I actually think there's something really nice about the limitations of the audience, because it allows, like I said, the value comes out of the elitism of the space, of the smallness of the offering. So that creates the value. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think everything should be mass media.
No, but that's what I said.
Yeah.
I said it's like it's greatest strength, greatest weakness. We're talking about how does Ordinals compare to mass media, and I'm just saying that there's a barrier to entry before Ordinals. As is, I don't know that Ordinals becomes a mass media. I think Ordinals is a niche part that's connected to mass media. That's the way it feels right now.
Well, and I think that's what we're hoping to do, right?
No, exactly. I'm just
one of the things, and we haven't talked about Battle for Hada much, but one of the things we always talk about, right, is that if you could have owned a piece of the Game of Thrones, you could have owned Winterfell, for instance, before Game of Thrones was even a book. What a cool ride that Ordinal would have had. And that is the experience we're hoping to do, which is buy into Battle for Hada. And then as Gregg is writing the books, depending on what the fandom of Ordinals and the ownership of Ordinals do, it actually helps define the world. And I think that there's something really beautiful about the personal ownership of IP that Ordinals offers, which is so cool. And because it's on Bitcoin, it's limited, and it's forever. It's a forever history of fandom. Like, you'll know that you owned Winterfell. It's not just something you're going to talk about. It's not just a baseball card hiding in a book that you might sell in 100 years. It's there for everybody to see. And I think that's super cool. I always think also about, like, if you could have owned, Walt Disney's, like, first drawing of Mickey Mouse.
That'd be pretty sick.
I mean, it's kind of what we're doing here. It's kind of what we're doing here is that what we hope to do is to take all the storytelling that we've learned in mass media and seed it in Ordinals in cool gamified ways, so that there's not only a cool experience within the space of ordinals, but that there's a real world mass media event that's happening that's connected with it and also increases the value of it. So
By the way, I want to say
anyway.
hi to Binta that's here with us, and also
Hi, Minta.
thank you to everybody that's like supporting the stream and reposted. Rocky, Binta, and Style Pigeons, you guys are amazing. Hey Rocky, what's up? Honestly, really love you guys. Yeah, this is like, so this is, it's not my first stream, obviously, but it's my first. I guess I'm gonna start doing these more often, just on my profile, and have amazing guests like like the team that we have here, and just have like really, cool, chill conversations about different topics, whether it's, the industry, marketing, whatever it is that you guys want to talk about. But yeah, thank you for supporting. Really appreciate when people like, share and interact. It's like really fun to do this all together. I really love this format. Honestly, I love live as opposed to you know just spaces and static content. And in this actually, like, about this, right? Like, in your opinion, why do you think streaming is so big in a way? Like, why is it, why is, sorry, repeat the question. Why do you think streaming got so big, and also compared to traditional media over the last few years?
I think COVID was one part of it, like, because people suddenly had more time at home and were watching more. That was probably a little bit, but it was already sort of tilting this way a little bit, because it was, even before COVID, it was challenging to get people into theatrical movie cinemas to go. So all these companies, driven by the Netflix effect of, oh, we want to make our company more like a Netflix style streaming company. So a lot of people tilted the whole industry in that direction and ended up going that way. But, it's funny. The wonderful thing about content and films and television and book, the way you make film and television hasn't changed in 100 years. Like, it's basically the same. If you went to some old timey photograph of, like, Captain Blood, it would be the same. What's changed is the distribution and how people take the material in, and that sort of thing. And that's where, to the point that Jane and Greg have made before, and Nick as well, that's where crypto and ordinals gets exciting, because it's another way to look at how to share one front of a content. You've got novels, you've got film, television, you've got ordinals, you've got, I brought out, just because I knew hopefully people get a giggle out of it, but Jane was talking about the original Mickey Mouse, like, cell, like when we made Lord of the Rings, like 20 plus years ago, this right here is one of the original rings.
The ring.
That
Oh my God.
Elijah Wood acted with.
That's so good.
The precious.
I remember when I first met Nick, one of Nick's first initiatives was to you could take valuable physical items and essentially put them on the block, essentially have the legitimization of them on the blockchain. Like, that was an early initiative that he was doing. And that was I knew zero about crypto, Bitcoin, or anything until Jane told me about this Nick initiative, which I thought was so cool. But the point is, whether that's a physical thing, but the idea of using Bitcoin to augment a storytelling endeavor like Emerald Anvil, be it films, television, novels, board games, whatever else comes out of our efforts, that's what we think is really exciting. And that does do a form of eventizing, which we think is cool.
How do you feel about, oh, sorry, go for it.
Oh, no, go ahead. I was just going to say, why do you think streaming's so successful? It's what we were talking about before. It allows the consumer into people's lives in a very direct way. I think the television interviews and sort of the traditional old PR way always felt sort of packaged and cleaned up, and there was some benefit to it, but it's a little boring after the 800th time of seeing a celebrity star producer, director talking about their movie. And I think streaming allows people very unvarnished, very, you have totally interesting, cool questions to ask, and you're doing it from a personal perspective because you're interested. And I think that there's a curiosity about streaming that curiosity and a personal intimacy to it. And I think that that's where content's kind of going, is that you need to really connect with people. And I think a lot of the filmmakers that are succeeding these days are having a direct line to their consumer base. And I find that really exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. I mean, we're also going to have so much, AI, UGC content going forward, that the whole like over polished, like people are sick of filters. They just want to see
Yeah.
the raw thing, like no makeup, just look natural.
Totally.
And we're so over it, like so over it.
Yeah, it's exhausting. It's and I think that, like anything old is new again. I always like to say, everybody was like, when music started streaming, everybody was like, oh, albums are dead. All of our CDs went away. It's so annoying. Mark, I can hear you typing.
Okay.
And so I think that we're going to have the old experience, but the new unvarnished stuff is great. And I do think, like, let's stop packaging humans and content and just start letting people in while still maintaining the magic of cinema.
How does Hollywood feel about, streamers being able to move crowds and literally like populations of countries, while Hollywood actors are, I wouldn't call them irrelevant because they're not, but let's say they don't have the same pull as they would, except for maybe Sydney Sweeney, who's able to like come to markets. Yeah, like how do they feel about this whole new wave of celebrities, pretty much, that are not them in some ways?
I think it's complementary, because a lot of people, anyone that's talking about content, like anything that's it adds to the visibility and motivates people. So I don't think people here probably see it as a zero-sum game. They probably see it as something that enhances visibility.
I do think it was slightly confusing for a minute. I think that, there had been just a way, oh, you put Brad Pitt in something, it'll work. I think that everybody realizes that's not necessarily the case. However, if you put Brad Pitt into F1 and like give him his movie star moments, like and then populate the rest of the movie with people that maybe, are successful in different, like, parts of the world, I think that's a winning combination.
I mean, Apple sold, I think they made like 40 million by selling those like logo placements on the what is it called, on the suits.
Yeah.
They really did this like well. But yeah, that's the thing, right? Like these, we started off as like, obviously there weren't that many celebs at the end of the day. I think when I grew up, it was all, Angelina Jolie and like Brad Pitt, and these were like the big people. And
Tom
then
Cruise is still hanging in there. Tom
he's
Cruise.
still doing his stunts. He's still like hanging off planes. That's so wild. But yeah, he's still going, right?
Still a movie star, a bona fide movie star. There aren't that many left, honestly. And I don't know. I find it exciting and invigorating, and it to me it means that the content, again, that we're kind of keep circling this, is that at the end of the day, it's about the story and the way the story is told, which is point of view, that actually connects with people. I do think celebrity can help, but I think that it's part of a landscape of help, not just the only thing. We just sold, Disney Plus. We worked with tons of influencers. Their marketing campaign, they did an entire 3-day junket with just influencers.
Was this on which platform? On TikTok, Instagram?
It was all of them. It was, I'd have to talk to the PR team, but it was, a lot of TikTok people, for sure Instagram, Mark, were there any others? I mean, they did stuff on Reddit, they did stuff on Twitch. There were certain things that we hadn't even heard of that were specifically focused on the teens. And that was, but to do 3 days with all influencers, there were no traditional media people there. And then they did a separate traditional media junket. But they take it very, very seriously, and those influencers are our partners in the content, and our kids are who are celebrities to our audience. Like, they're like movie stars to our audience, are friendly with all these people now, which
Oh,
helps
that's
their
really cool.
brands. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing, right? Like at the end of the day, like people want repetition. Like it will, if I think even of myself, and I think younger, even younger generation, maybe Gen Z, like they need to be, bombarded. Like how many touch point does it take for a person to decide, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna go watch this, or I'm gonna click and really spend my time? Because ultimately you're competing for time, like whatever you do, whether it's an app, like you're competing for, you're ultimately competing with, I don't know, like going to the gym or going to see friends or watching another movie or reading a book. Not that nobody reads anymore, but like you are ultimately competing for time, like whatever you do. So it definitely takes quite a few touch points for someone to be like, okay, I'm gonna go watch this in the movies. Like I feel a lot of these days the test is, people see short-term content like clips, content about something, about a product, and then they will decide whether it's worth for them to invest like the whole, whatever it is, whether it's time or money and into that. But it does happen on TikTok. Like, yeah, I do see it how it's changing. Like it will take me a couple of times of, seeing a TikTok pop up on my feed before I decide to actually spend time or see if it's worth. And that's just the reality of how, like, I think distribution has changed, right? Like it's short-term videos, it's seeing the people that you follow,
Mhm.
which has been the same. It's just like the channels are different and the format is a little bit different these days. Before I kind of like keep talking, I just want to say hi to Shan again, who's saying here, are we going to inscribe are we going to be inscribing the Lord of the Rings ring on Bitcoin? Mark.
I don't know if you really want like the Black Speech of Mordor in Bitcoin. I think that might be kind of scary.
That's actually really interesting. Yeah. I mean,
But yeah,
you don't, just on the off chance that ring actually has some of that in it, you don't necessarily want that spirit in Bitcoin unless it's already there.
It's
Well, I think
scary.
I should definitely be tracking like things, like the authenticity of things on Bitcoin. So
yeah.
it would be cool to like take a photo of it, write down the history, and then turn that into an ordinal, and then you could just keep that in your wallet, Mark, and just be
Well,
like,
by the way, the funny behind the scene thing, you can't do it because it's framed now. But when it was given to me, like I said, I was not being ungrateful, I promise. But I was sort of like, this is so great. But I bet, what if people don't believe me that it's actually the ring? Like it might be a replica. And the little bag is the wardrobe bag, and all the every wardrobe item on a movie, particularly a gigantic movie with lots of props, has codes, right? Like so people can keep track of them. So on the back of that is the code item for the wardrobe. So Peter turned it over and wrote like, because he was like, fine, this is the ring from the film. So that, and I realized that became the providence. That note on the back of the wardrobe tag with all the codes, like essentially became the retroactive providence of the item.
That's so
so then
crazy. What
the
did
way
you have to do? Oh, sorry. Go, Nick.
I was going to say the way that would work on chain is like that, since you're the first owner of it and you're the known first owner of it,
Right.
your wallet, like you would create a Bitcoin wallet, and then that's your known wallet. And then you would
Right.
create the ordinal from that wallet. And then everyone would know that's the official one because it came from Mark's wallet.
Right. Got it. See, so there
Can
you
you
go.
show us? Can you show us the ring again?
Sure. and you could see the little,
Precious.
note.
This is the ring from the movie, from the film.
So they have it.
Crazy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so cool.
Ring.
It's cool.
It's super cool. I love this idea of creating an ordinal mark that you keep in your Bitcoin wallet, because 100 years from now, when you're a memory,
Right.
and somebody else has that thing, they can say,
Yeah.
"Hey, I got it from this is Mark Ordesky's original." And I think
No,
that's
exactly right.
I do think that is what the permanence of ordinals is. Very, very
Yes,
exciting.
I think that goes the full circle. Exactly, the permanence as in storytelling, in terms of like precious items, art, physical.
And history and storytelling. Like, part of what we love about it is that we're going to have a record. We're creating the history of Hada.
Correct.
And it will forever live. There's going to be no debate about what happened in the battle for Hada.
And there's actually like so much more that you can do with these than people have not done yet. Like today, somebody sent me a video of somebody opening a door lock, like an Airbnb door lock, with an NFT.
Wow.
And I was like, and that was an idea that I had like years ago. And like I even registered a domain about it. I was like, I'm gonna register Nifkey because it sounds like NFT. And then so somebody sent me that this morning, and I was like, oh my God, it's like exactly how I envisioned it. And that's just like, so you can use these digital assets like keys if you wanted to. Like you could go and like you could use your Emerald Anvil, your Battle for Hada ordinal, like to get into a building someday. I mean,
Right.
that's just a possibility. Like,
Well, no, when we've talked a lot of, anyway, we have plans up our sleeve. I'm not gonna give
or
away
you
too
can use
much.
it in a video game. I mean, there's so many things you could do with it as like an access token, or as a marker in some kind of game or something that people just haven't even scratched the surface.
That goes beyond just being a collectible, right? We have Max that's asking, did you see, this is for Mark, did you see Gollum acting?
Yes, Andy Serkis, who plays Gollum, I was blessed to see him act. And you actually got to see him act twice, because he acted with like Elijah Wood and Sean Astin and on set when he was wearing kind of a gray suit, but then he essentially recreated that exact same performance on a motion capture stage, because it was the early days of motion capture when you couldn't do the live motion capture that you can do now. Now you don't have to do it twice. You can just do it once. And even with so yeah, I did get to see him. And he's of course directing the new Lord of the Rings movie that's going to come out, The Hunt for Gollum. So he's going to be directing and acting in that film that's coming in the future.
Wow. When is it coming out? Do we have a date?
I think it's it's December.
I don't know if it's of 27.
I think it's 27
or 28. I don't know.
I think it's 27.
We're off.
They haven't started yet, so it's hard to. You can't really date it yet. They haven't started yet, but they're
some Lord of the Rings alpha there for anyone.
Yeah.
Mark, are you going to be involved with the movie in any way?
I don't believe so, because I think it's moved on to Warner Brothers now. But never say never.
Cool. Well, we'll definitely be waiting for that one. That's one I'm definitely gonna. I don't need any marketing or any TikTok.
Right? Yeah, you don't need an influencer.
That one
I can say that's exactly right, because the IP that goes back. The story is in your heart, so you get really excited whenever there's new expressions of it. So
that's for sure. Yeah, no, that I'm definitely going. Max has another question. Is asking. This one's for Gregg. What makes people watch horror? I'm too scared. And then what face I think is a emoji. Oh yeah, that's not.
It is an emoji.
I guess it's called the what faced.
The what face.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've enjoyed being scared since I was a kid. Like when I was little, I would just terrify myself watching movies that I shouldn't have been watching. I don't know. My obviously non-scientific theory is, as cave people or whatever, not that long ago, really, you had X amount of your brain that was kind of hardwired to process danger. right? You needed to be aware of danger. You need to be, look for things in your environment that were out of place, that were a threat. And I think, as in modern times, you don't have that so much on a day-to-day basis, right? Like you're not sleeping in a cave and having to, worry about the cave bear coming and dragging you out of your cave every night.
Hopefully
But I
not.
think, yeah, hopefully not. But you've got all these receptors, I think, in your brain for that kind of stuff. And I think horror films or roller coasters or any sort of extreme sport or whatever kind of fulfills that input need, right? You kind of get an endorphin rush from it. You get a little hit of endorphins. And I think some people, respond to that. I mean, that's why I think the horror community is such a dedicated fan base. I think I would argue that horror fans are probably the most focused, dedicated fan base that there is, in terms of like a horror fan will watch any horror movie that comes out. Like a bad horror film to a horror fan is just as cool as a really good horror film, which is, there's no other fandom that I can think of that absorbs things like that the way that horror fans do.
I think
I
actually
used to watch.
fantasy might be a close second. I think fantasy people that like
Yeah,
fantasy will.
yeah, but bad fantasy though. I mean, there's a whole like
I know, but they'll
people
still
that
check it out. They'll still check it out. Whether or not they
yeah,
stick with it is the whole other thing.
yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
there's a whole sub genre of horror, which is bad horror.
Yes.
That people like just as much
They
as
love the cringe.
yeah, 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 yeah. Something about bad horror is just effective as good horror for a real horror fan, right? That obviously doesn't
Totally.
translate into to mass fandom, but the horror fans themselves like bad horror. Like my oldest kid, is super into horror, and I think they like bad horror films more than they like good horror films, and they know they're bad. They're like, oh, I'm
You
gonna
let
go
your
watch.
kids did you let your kids, as like when they were like really young, watch horror?
Yeah, or like, I've got photos of my oldest kid. Like we made a horror film in Hong Kong when they were like 1.5, and I've got pictures of them like, the Chinese zombies that we had, Chinese ghost, like they're like sitting around with the Chinese ghost, not really talking to them because they couldn't speak English, but just kind of hanging out with all these Chinese guys in weird zombie makeup. So
That's
they were kind of used
crazy.
to it.
Cool dad. I wasn't
Yeah.
allowed. I had to like rent, I don't know, like ask my friends to rent, The Ring. I grew up in like The Ring and Saw and like all these like really
Oh,
cool.
Saw so
My God.
terrible. I can't
I
with
used to
Saw.
watch them like secretly. I was like the only one that like in my family like these horror movies. And then I stopped because I got really scared of the dark. Like it's not like, obviously I love roller coaster. I think I'm definitely an adrenaline junkie. But the thing is, you finish the roller coaster, you're good. Like watch a horror movie, you're gonna be afraid of the dark. Like I did have, like I think it did follow me around, or like isn't there's like even a movie called It Follows. It was pretty creepy too.
Well, I think that when things get into your consciousness, yeah, I think
Oh
that
my God, yeah.
there
Terrifying.
is a game that we can play with ourselves that something goes bump in the night and you are sure that this is the time. This is
Yeah.
when things are gonna go weird. Absolutely.
Binta's saying she loves watching horror movies and she wasn't allowed as a kid. Yeah, same. Was not
Yeah.
allowed. It was like maybe I loved it more just because it was forbidden. I think I don't know. When you're a kid, like if it's forbidden, like you're gonna want to watch it like even more. But I don't
Yeah.
know. But I know that Mark needs to leave soon, and yeah, we've come on the it's been almost an hour that we've been live. Um, but yeah, I think obviously what everybody wants to hear is always like Lord of the Rings lore. Like, what is like one of the most like fun moments you've had on set making Lord of the Rings, and one of the worst, actually. Let's start with the worst. Like, what was the
The
worst
worst.
moment that you've experienced
Well,
while
I'll
making
only start with the fun one because it's at my own expense and it came in my brain first. But like one of my jobs on Lord of the Rings was obviously to try to, get things accomplished on behalf of the studio and on behalf of the filmmakers. And whenever I would show up on set, I inevitably had like annoying questions and things that needed to be done. And one time when I went, in fact, the only photograph of me on set during the Lord of the Rings in the 400 days that we shot the movie was I went to ask, and Peter Jackson intercepted me. We were shooting Fanghorn Forest for the Two Towers. It was on a blue screen set with these trees. And he said, "Oh, you're here. Thank God. This is perfect timing because we need someone to read off lines for Gimli because John Rhys Davies wasn't on set. It was his scale double. So I got stuck behind a tree for 3 hours reading lines for Gimli, and I couldn't ask any of my questions. So I just was trapped there. There's a photograph of me looking pretty sullen because I couldn't ask my questions. I was just because Peter Jackson is a total prankster, and so of course I got caught up in the pranking. I don't know if I could say that there was a worst moment because the worst day I had on Lord of the Rings was better than the best day you could ever hope to have in a career. So I feel like it's hard to complain. There was certainly pressure, and stakes, and people when they're under pressure aren't always kind. And maybe aren't always their best selves, myself included. So things like that sometimes did happen. But I probably things that wouldn't be probably things I'll have to say for after when I'm dead.
Okay, we'll leave it. We'll leave it at that. By the way, before my whole Web3 career, I did work for a reality show. It was Survivor, the Italian production, and 6 months in Honduras shooting. I've seen it all as well. Like it
I'm
was,
sure.
yeah, people screaming.
Well-
Italians are fiery. There was a lot of screaming. Yeah. Especially when you're going live and you're trying to edit things in the night and things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that set life is probably I think we could do an entire stream on just set life and how different it is and the rules of engagement and all of the hilarious sort of primal things that human beings start showing up under pressure. But it's wonderful. We have a lot of friends that travel from set to set to set, and they've coined themselves the circus. They're just circus performers. They just they're addicted to the life, and they travel around the world making content of all types, and just really love it.
I think crypto
really
people
love
are
it too.
I think crypto
Yeah.
people are addicted to that kind of stress too, because there's always something going wrong. You just, when you're launching a product, you're trying to, grow, or you're doing a campaign, there's always going to be something that's going to go wrong. So you have to be switching, from just looking for solutions. It's just a mindset. At the end of the day, it's a mindset, and it's more about finding the solution in the situation and not seeing it as an issue. There's always issues. It's there's no even need to mention that, but it's more about the approach that you have to things, and just assume there's always shit that's going to go wrong. So
Absolutely.
how do I fix it? Just always be 10 steps ahead, and even when you're not, just be able to think quick and come up with stuff, and just think that it's gonna happen, and you have to build a team that you can trust, and that's also gonna be
and there's
okay
a
when you're screaming sometimes.
there's a crypto circus roadshow as well, right? There's you guys have been doing a lot of that, Camski, and
We have.
Max.
And we've seen each other in Vegas as well, right? So
Yeah.
that was the biggest conference.
That was a slice of it, right? But those things are going on all around the world all the time. You can end up in Japan or South Korea, and you can just end up in these weird conferences or these weird back rooms with this crazy weird crypto party or something, and you're like, how did I get here? What is going on? Who are these people? And that there's a lot of that in crypto as well, which I found pretty interesting.
I feel, Nick, you have the wildest stories. I know you're like telling this and like smiling. I know there's a lot.
As long as the statute of limitations is like fast, like far enough, like I can be more and more open about that stuff. But yeah, no, there was some really, like John McAfee for some reason became my friend's best friend. And like he called me one time and he was like, I'm on a boat in the Caribbean shooting machine guns at fish with John McAfee. And I'm like, what? Like that was my roommate, right? And like, and then so John McAfee, did I tell you like John McAfee's tattoo on his, he got like suicided in jail in France, and he had a tattoo of Skycoin, which is my friend's project, the one that like he recruited me on. He got this big tattoo, it says Skycoin on his back, and that was my logo. Like I designed that, so I designed John McAfee's back tattoo, which is kind of like
no way.
Yeah. So you know, crypto can be pretty surreal too. You know?
Nick is the Forrest Gump of crypto. He's like in all of these really important spots. Not really like, he's like
when everything's really weird.
Background picture of all of these historical crypto moments. Hopefully with Battle for Hada as well.
Yeah, that would be amazing. So I'll put it in a memoir someday.
Nick, what's your favorite and like least favorite thing about crypto? Crypto moment.
Oh, I mean, you know, like personally, like a crypto moment, or just like in general, like
can be both. Up to you.
Well, I mean, I love just like, because I was a web designer before I was in crypto, just kind of bouncing around from different companies and doing websites for, you know, like big corporations and stuff and small companies, and it was really fun just getting into people's businesses. You know, like seeing how their business worked, because, you know, the web person like kind of has their hands in like how you have to like understand the business. And so in crypto, it feels like the same way. I'm kind of like in the middle of all these different businesses, and I get to kind of see how a lot of things are run. And so that's probably my favorite thing about it. But least favorite thing would definitely be like all of the shady people who like contact me in the middle of the night, and they're like, hey, I got this amazing idea. And I'm like, okay, tell me about it. And then I'm like, so what's your name? And they're like, I'm not doxxed. I'm like, we can't work together if you can't even tell me your name, you know, like, I don't know who you are. So yeah, so like I feel like I'm constantly on the run from like when I run into like the wrong person at like a crypto conference or something, and they're like trying to set me up with some deal that like I know is like, there's definitely something wrong with this deal. I gotta go like to the other side of the room right now, because this is like gonna get
I feel like at some point you kind of, you know, you kind of like, it's a feel, right? That's one thing like I was talking about with Max. Like if there's one thing or one skill that I've like really refined after being like full-time in crypto for like 4 years now, is spotting out the scams, or like I can see it a miles away. Like if you're
this is where Hollywood and crypto intersect, because
that vibe, right?
Attract
the
scam artists. Scam artists everywhere. Mark and I have a very distinct feeling I get when somebody comes in sort of like razzmatazz and they're going to do this for us, and what Mark and I, the number one way to scare them off is to say, okay, cool, send an engagement letter. And then they always disappear, because it's like it starts becoming real. And people kind of like to just talk in dreams.
Yeah. And
I won't make a name, but I know we've experienced that in real life. And Vegas, it was,
like the reason I can be here on the stream, like, and show my face is because I didn't say yes to a lot of those things, you know, because a lot of those people I knew from early on, from like 2013, 2014, are like hiding, you know, looking over their shoulder for the rest of their life, because they made the wrong decision, because, you know, they traded their money for integrity or whatever. And like, I think that you can do that. And then, you know, you might not even make money on it, but then either way, you're going to like, you know, you're going to have to leave the business, or you're going to have to be looking over your shoulder for the rest of your life. And like, that's something I was never willing to do. You know, I was never willing to do anything that would make me feel like, you know, I'm not on the up and up, and like I can't like show my face, and like I don't have enemies out there. So it's tough. It can be a really tough line to walk in crypto, especially. So
I mean, especially in early days. Right now, I feel like, you know, there's less and less people that are on docs. It's the culture's changed. In the beginning, right, it was all about anonymity, about, you know, like really close to just being anonymous, right? Like 2017, like you could raise millions and not like show your face. Today, that doesn't really happen anymore.
Like, don't get, like, I also believe the government has been wrong about some things. Like when they went after like the Stoner Cats project, you know, like the Ashton Kutcher, Mila Kunis Stoner Cats project. Like it was like very up and up. Like they weren't doing nothing wrong, and they delivered on the project like goals. So like I think the government has been like, it's a little bit of both. It's like, yeah, there's some people who want to be really scammy, but also the government like really unfairly went after a lot of projects that were sincere. And so anyway, like I think there's a little bit of that as well.
I see that, Mark. I know you have to go, right?
Yeah, apologies. I have to drop. I had another commitment I could not shift, but this has been so awesome. And thank you, everyone. And for the whole, obviously for the whole streaming audience, this has been really, really great, and looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun. We love hearing Lord of the Rings lore and seeing the ring. Like you can come and show it anytime. And yeah,
sure.
we've seen the chat has been also like very active and so on. This was like really fun. Yeah,
well,
thanks for joining.
Won't hesitate. Thanks you guys again, and talk soon.
Bye, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Bye. Bye.
Do we want to show the minion picker? Does somebody want to?
I think that's a good idea. Should we just give a quick rundown of what Battle for Hada is for anybody that's new
Do it.
to the idea? Greg, do you want to do a quick rundown?
Yeah, Battle for Hada is our digital collectible game on Ordinals for the Emerald Anvil universe, which is dangerous fairies. Game of Thrones with fairies is the quick way to do it. And Battle for Hada is step one is taking the map of the world. I mean, I guess I could share my screen, I suppose.
Yeah, you can.
So we're going to be selling pieces of Hada, and each one of them has attributes, and you're going to be able to choose sort of what you relate to the most, and buy that, and then there will start being alliances, and we've got a lot of good tricks up our sleeve. But at least stage one will be really defining what Hada looks like as we head into.
So should I try to share my screen, Camski?
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me see.
Scary.
That was a little scary. It says that I'm unable to share it. So maybe somebody else. All you have to do, if Camski, if you want to do it, just go to battleforhada.com.
Sure, let me.
Because the picker's up, and we can kind of see everything on battleforhada.com, but it's not.
While you're doing that, I mean, really, just to connect to everything we've been talking about, Battle for Hada at its core is a different way of telling stories and engaging our audience, our Ordinals owners, in a story. I grew up in an era where my mom would send away for books that had my name in it. And so it was like putting me in the book. And I was like, I loved it so much. And, I think that Gregg, Mark, and I have always been looking for ways to bring consumers into our stories. I mean, I think that Blair Witch Project was essentially bringing real people into a real horror moment. And we did a show called The Quest where we also did that. So Battle for Hada is a different way to allow people in. And so, Gregg, you want to walk through what this is?
By the way, before you do, I just want to say, like, the project is going to be launching soon. If you want to have access and a whitelist, join the Discord, say hi, say you're coming from the stream, and you'll have the team that's going to assign you a role. So here it is. Where should I go? Should I choose a
Yeah,
side?
scroll up a little bit and we'll just look at the map. So what we're doing, the map is just scroll up.
I'm up.
She's as high as she can be.
Oh, there's no.
Explore
look.
the map of Hada to the right. If you no down, there you go.
Yeah, there it is.
There.
So we're taking that map and dividing the one half of the map. We're dividing that into 3,000 hexes, and then so you'll be able to buy those hexes and become part of a dominion, right? So basically, 150 years ago, a human destroyed 1/3 of this planet of fairies. So now about a third of the fairies hate humans, a third of them like humans, and a third of them are kind of neutral. So the basic thing is like, anti-human, pro-human, neutral, and then what is your attitude? Like what kind of culture would you want to be in? And that's where the dominion picker comes in. So if you go back up or down or whatever the term is and just choose a side, that's our dominion picker. So you kind of go through and you decide, what do you want to be? Okay, so Camski, you go through and let's see what dominion you are.
What's my stance
walk
on
us
humans?
through what
Is
you're
that
doing.
like in general or like humans in the universe of Hada?
Yeah,
Because I know
humans,
from the story, like I know they
Yeah,
Humans
are
in
fairy.
Hada.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Hada.
You're a fairy. You're a fairy. So you're
Okay.
taking on the fairy's point of view.
It's tough. Like I do have to say, like people that say they don't like people, it's always a bit of a red flag in a sense. Like, these kind of like misanthropic, kind of like people that say like,
yeah.
oh,
So
I
then
don't
you
know.
like humans. There's no shame
I
in
will
liking
say I
humans.
do. I will say I do. I think like people that don't like people just hate themselves and like are trying to project on others, but they have deep like issues with who they are, so they kind of like hate.
All right, there you go. Psychology and fairies.
Yeah. So like that. What do you trust the most? Intuition. What drives you? Faith and ritual harmony. Oh, this one's tough. I don't know what drives me.
Are you religious?
No, not at all.
Well, then I
But,
would
like,
go. I would say
spiritual,
harmony
I
or
would say.
ritual. Well, it doesn't have to be religious, but are you
Okay,
is
let's do
ritual a big part of your life?
definitely faith, but not in like a religious
Not a
way.
religious
I'm not
sense. Well, then give that a
baptized
shot.
or
Give that a
anything.
shot.
Oh, Max is
Somebody's
asking what
asking
is
what's harmony.
Yeah.
Well,
What's harmony?
I think harmony. I think that's more about like the desire for harmony. Like what drives you? Like you want harmony in
Just
life.
vibing, just
just vibing.
The
So,
good vibes.
Camski, that's actually like if I do the first time I do the picker, right? Obviously, I know all the dominions, but this is where I get Inuan too.
Right.
And
well,
this is my favorite. Overall, this is my favorite dominion.
Really? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that point, like I'm actually rereading The Alchemist, and like in the story they talk about, like following life omens, yeah. And I think that's kind of like how I've started living my life, is just following the signs. And once you kind of like start seeing things from that perspective, which works as well, right? It's not the only way. Like there's things that will lead you to places and things, and ultimately your purpose will unfold when you start just surrendering in that and just trusting. So I'm definitely more of a, I definitely think
Inuan's the best dominion. I don't know, man.
Let's go.
I need to pick one. I haven't picked one yet. But yeah, let go, let God, Max, for sure. I think that I'm actually a real believer in that too, not to go totally philosophical on our stream, but I think I do believe that if you listen, if you quiet down enough, right, to listen or at least see what's coming at you in your day, that that the path does get clearer.
It does. I mean, it's so there. You're never off paths. That's the whole point, right? Like when people are saying, "Oh, I'm out of alignment. I'm not connected." Whatever. You're not. You're always on a spiritual path or path of like.
But it's what are you focusing on, right? And sometimes I think that I'll talk about me, is that I get caught up in what I think I want, and I get so caught up in it that I don't listen to the stuff that actually is probably better for me.
Don't we all?
in my past. I know. It's a
Don't we all?
lifelong journey.
Max is saying he studied philosophy. I'm gonna go there. Yeah,
Gonna
Max
go
did
there.
like
LOL.
4 years of philosophy in university. That's like, yeah, your brain's gonna like implode.
Well, and I think that I think that part of intuition and following the path led us into ordinals, actually. Because there aren't a ton of people in our walk of life in Hollywood doing this. And, I just think that there's something really interesting and exciting about the actual foundational elements of ordinals for storytelling.
For Bitcoin.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read here the whole.
I think there's something really cool about owning like this digital. Like I've always get sort of this like secret kick out of owning this like digital thing that nobody else can see. Like if somebody robbed my house, I would still have all my ordinals, right?
What if
Like
they rob your computer and they
well,
weigh
then
your
they would
ledger?
have to go through so many hoops to figure out how to get my ordinal. Like, or they wouldn't be able to open my computer. But like the thing is, it's like I have this secret space, like that's nowhere, that's just like hidden. That I have all these like digital assets, things that I own that are just basically like nowhere, like invisible. Like they're safe from anybody trying to take them.
Show us your seed phrases, Nick.
Oh, like I can show you a screenshot if that would be easier.
What's your? By the way, you're a Node monkey. You should be happy right now. Like price has been like.
It's been better, yeah, for sure. But I mean, they were worth $30,000 at one point, like
right,
$30,000. But
everyone's like, yeah. I just feel like I don't know what I think about this pump. It just feels like there's way too many people just waiting for a decent exit in some kind of way. Like
I honestly think that the end of this year is going to be really good for crypto. Not only because like the end of the year is usually better for crypto, but also because I think that the cycle never really got to where it was supposed to be. Like Bitcoin doing like a 2x from the last all-time highs, it's just like not that good. So it's like I expect Bitcoin to have like a 4x at some point from the last all-time high, which was 60K. So like I'm expecting something like 150, 180K at some point. And I think that that's going to come at the end of this year or the beginning of next year. That's just my personal predictions. So that would be really great for the rest of, digital assets and everything. But
I mean, not gonna say no to a bull market. It definitely doesn't feel like bull market. I mean, we've definitely had a bull market on meme coins, and maybe that's kind of the thing, right? That a lot of people did not make money, even though there's been definitely certain asset classes that have been outperforming all different, other categories.
Yeah, I think meme coins really kind of like sucked a lot of the steam out of the non-fungible market. Sort of junk meme coins and stuff, and like the pump.fun stuff. But this period we're going through with Bitcoin being where it's at, like in the middle of the summer, is it feels like unusual. Like I wasn't expecting Bitcoin to be doing what it's doing right now.
2021 was popping. I remember when I got into NFTs. That was during the summer, like July.
I gotta go, guys.
Oh, Gregg's gotta go. We're losing people by the minute.
Yeah, we're actually like, oh my god, we've been on for almost an hour and a half. But yeah, so just a quick thing. So here you can go check out the website. You can like join the Discord. If you want to have a whitelist, just tell them you come from the stream, and then the team will welcome you in here. All right.
And we're getting really close. So join us.
Guys, thank you guys. I appreciate it. And hopefully we'll be back on and we'll dig deeper into the whole battle for hot of it again.
The lore.
All right, see you guys.
Bye, Gregg.
Bye.
Bye.
And then there were 3.
Time flies when you're having fun. Like already.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. Really good stuff.
On for a while. Yeah. Nick, I feel like we need to like set up a stream where you're gonna like tell us all the like crazy story you've been like witnessing. I know you I can see your face not very like excited about it, but
Yeah. No, there's some really crazy stuff that, like, it's weird because it's a lot of the stuff that you talk to with people like at events when you've had a few drinks and you're like, oh, let me tell you about this thing that this one guy that we both know what happened, so yeah, so a lot of it's like not stuff that's like suitable for like
our life.
extreme.
Yeah.
But I
But I
mean,
have to say, you have an amazing. You like if you guys like obviously you want to discover more of Nick. I think you guys should follow him on TikTok. I know that you've been creating like a lot of content on TikTok, and this is like where you're more vocal. And so yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
I like, so like on TikTok, I've made some videos that have gone like viral that have like 1 million views, but none of them are like blockchain or crypto related. Like I complained about car insurance one time and that got like 800,000 views, and I was like,
Oh my
car
God.
insurance is a scam. So like nobody cares about the stuff that I'm like really that's like my niche. They only care about like random stuff that like every once in a while, I posted a video where it was like 50 seconds long. It was like, whatever happened to Ray Liotta? Like, how did he die? Right? Like, I don't understand how he died. And then it went like super viral, and people were like, how did he die? And there was all these conspiracy theories. And it's like, so like I have no idea how it works on there. Like it just sort of, they just sort of pick something to go viral on there. So like whenever I try and push something, like I try and talk about blockchain or something, it's just like people are just TikTok, they're just not interested in blockchain. What can I say?
They're interested in
They
like
will be.
XRP,
They'll get there.
or there's this like video that keeps going around. I mean, there's various accounts that are kind of repurposing it. It's basically just saying like, hey, I made 98K in a day. This is how I did it with Pump Fun. And it's always the same thing. 98.
Yeah, you can go down that road where you're just like, this is how you
The
make money.
meme
Like,
coin.
yeah, and it's just like I feel like once you start doing that, like you're like no one else is gonna take you seriously. Like there's only the people who are just trying to make money who will follow you, but then everybody else is gonna be like blocking you and turned off immediately.
Yeah.
Like I
You know
try.
you're gonna try to sell them your paid Telegram chat.
Yeah, they're like, they think you're a scammer, and like I already have like a bunch of fake accounts that are pretending to be me, and I'm not even like a big person, but because I
I
mentioned
mean,
crypto,
that's a good sign. That's flattering. That's always good.
yeah, like so there's like this like all these clones, and like I think it's kind of funny because I take it as like they're spreading my content. they're like copying like backups. They're like free backup accounts. But they send
Great.
people. Yeah, right. But like I don't know how just I don't know how TikTok is like factors in from a business. Like I would love to like use TikTok to actually like make money, but it's just or like support my business in some way. But it's just really hard. Like it seems like the things that you have to do on TikTok to appeal to a lot of people are
I think you should try to learn one of the dances from Zombies 4, and then you're golden.
maybe or like
Yeah,
get ready with
our
me while I do Zombies 4.
our crypto engineer is doing TikTok dances. I think it's like a good crossover.
Yeah, maybe. Like, well, the other thing that people like is educational stuff. Like whenever you're like science content. So like I posted a few things about like this is a new thing that's happening in science, and people like that. It's like, what do people want from you, as a creator? Like people want different things from different people too. It's like,
No, of
Like
course. You just have to figure out. But this
or
goes back to what we were talking about before. It's about point of view.
we'll
What's
get
your
ready
point of
with
view?
the video by Nick. We'll be waiting for it.
but the dance one,
Yeah.
I can do progress. So it's like I start off being really bad, and then like over the months I get like way better, and then people
I think that's right. That's right.
and like because people like they want to see that. They want to see the progress videos. You know, I started out like this, and now I'm like
They
this.
also really love like unlikely people doing extraordinary moves. There was a guy, I have no idea how old he is, but he's an older gentleman who was doing one of the dances, and it's a pretty complicated, like physical dance, and he's gone viral because he's an older guy doing a teenage dance, and there's just something kind of wonderful about it.
Yeah, I love seeing that. Seeing that stuff.
So computer nerd goes dance crazy.
Especially like, well, because most of the people on TikTok are really young also.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, like you sort of faced a little bit of ageism on there.
A little.
You know,
Although,
like,
I mean, I'm not a poster. I just kind of like watch and sort of see what's going on. But yeah, I think there's a way to do it. Mark actually posted and they're very successful. He'll just walk his farm sometimes, and people like, it's the stuff that gets the most pickup. It's just him
so wholesome.
like walking the farm, and there's something slow and beautiful about it, and people really love it. So
That's so
who knows?
wholesome.
I'm not
There's
sure the internet really needs to hear us talk about the internet, but
there's like streaming. There are streaming channels where, you know, people have just set up like cameras in their farm and just leave it on, and you can literally just
Yeah.
tune in and see chicken roaming around, and you're basically just, you have a view on their home security camera pretty much, and that works. Like the
well,
other
there's
day
something
on
called slow
TikTok.
TV. Do you guys know about slow TV?
No, it is slow TV.
Okay, so slow TV, and I'm not sure exactly which country, it's either Finland or Norway, has a very successful sort of core of their television business called slow TV. And somebody put a camera on a train that crossed the whole country, and like more people tuned into it than they do to like normal, like, you know, fictional programming. And so then the next time they put it on a ship, and all these people like would come out, they knew what time it was going to pass in front of their house, and they'd be waving, and it was this big deal. And it just shows, I mean, to now go full circle on what we're talking about, is that content and storytelling can take so many different forms now. And you know, people relate to different kinds of content, sometimes in real mass ways that you would have never expected. But it's called slow TV. You can look it up.
I'm definitely gonna go watch that. It's such a good
you know, it's
vibe.
like I find myself watching a lot of when it comes to like streaming content. Whenever I watch streaming content, it's on YouTube, so it's already pre-recorded. But then I watch people play video games sometimes, which is so strange because like I don't even play any video games anymore. But for some reason, I find it really fascinating to see like what is going on with video games, and to see people playing like the latest video games. So I'll just sit down and like eat a bowl of cereal and watch somebody else play a video game.
What's the last one you watched? What's your favorite video games to watch?
So just like whatever's new, like there's a bunch of like just like kind of whatever, like the latest MMO RPG or something that's coming out. So like there's not like one thing. It's just like, oh, this is the top 10 latest new games that's coming out. I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. I could see myself playing that one day, but I'm never actually going to play like any of them.
There you go. I knew this was coming. If Max is in Elden Ring, Max is like obsessed. Elden Ring, has finished it, killed all the bosses.
Watch Elden Ring streams or YouTube videos, people playing?
No, I don't know, but
speed runs.
The thing about Elden Ring is like it's such a complex game that you have to go on YouTube and figure out like which weapons to use and like what are the tricks to kill some of the bosses, because it's like so hard. Here, Max saying, yeah, Chino Machino, he's amazing. I don't know who that is, but
yeah, that's a whole, like those video game streams and video game content is so popular.
Like I'm gonna plug in my PS5, and then I'm gonna start, like I will pick a game and I'll live stream one of these days.
It's so if you look at just the raw numbers of like what's the most popular content, it's ridiculous. Like video game content on YouTube, it's like always like 300,000 views. And then you'll see some other content somebody put a lot of effort into, and it's like 50,000 views. And then some guy just like playing a screenshot of a video game for like half an hour has got like 300,000.
Well, look, it is a bigger industry than the film and television industry at this point. It's transcended it, which, by the way, everybody thought would be, the death knell for film and television. And I kind of believe this is a full circle sort of, maybe this is the thing for me to end on, is that there's room for everyone. It just is, we're going to have to scale how we do things, and for what you have to really know who your audience is before you go into any sort of content distribution. And by the way, Mark and I always think back, even before we make something, at what level should it exist? Like where in the landscape is it best? And I think that that's the new normal.
I mean, some of the games that are coming out now feel like movies. I mean,
yeah, for sure.
Ghost of Tsushima. My favorite game ever is Journey. I don't know if you know that one. It's like a small indie. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. It's like an audiovisual experience, and it's so.
And that's the thing. It's like a movie. That everything. Well, because Unreal Engine like really helped transform how games are made, and by the way, now it's being used in film and television. So I think that, there's room for everyone, and then there's room for no one, right? So I think it's about storytellers really wanting to say something. I think that what we're going to find is that a lot of storytellers that just kind of want to be there, but have nothing like that they don't have anything profound to say, or something that they must say, it will get lost. But there's going to always be room. There's going to always be room for people that have vision.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Journey honestly really touched my soul in some kind of way. It was so beautiful. Yeah. But also the other ones, like the Ghost of Tsushima, it's like a whole story where it's way more honestly gripping, and it's more fun actually watching most of movies that are coming out these days. So yeah. I think it's fun. It's a new way of of entertainment. At the end of the day, it always comes down to that. It's like how you're spending your time to have fun, and I think gaming is definitely something that I find like really, 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 fun to do.
And immersive, and allows you to explore new worlds. And that's all that and storytelling is, right? Is the idea of taking us out of out of the real world and into fantasy and just new experiences.
I was just going to close up on that and just say, as a kid, I thought, when I used to be a bookworm. I read everything and all the time. Like I was just devouring books, and I just thought that this like need for fantasy, not so much like escapism and fantasy, but more wanting to dream and like think of different realities and so on would stop once you grew up. But it's definitely not, and it's something that will stay with us, and people need this, right? Like we want to
absolutely. It helps us navigate our human experience, I believe. I mean, it's why I wanted to get into storytelling and the film business, was that for me, movies, television, books helped me figure out what kind of human I wanted to be in the world.
I think all the storytelling from like the 80s and 90s, like shows that I watched growing up, like the cartoons from the 80s and 90s, like G.I. Joe and the Smurfs and stuff like that. Like they were so good. They were always trying to teach us things. And I think that's what made them so special, is like the storytellers of those shows that I grew up on they always had like a really strong message. And I think that gets lost a lot these days, because because now with just kind of scattered social media and just kind of random junk media, there isn't as much like kind of pre-planned storytelling. And I think that like that's kind of screwing people up too, because that's kind of how we impart our wisdom on the next generation. And like I think that like it's really important. So like I think it's really important. Just I'll just leave it at that.
Look, absolutely, absolutely. So it's going to be an exciting, next decade, I think.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I'm so excited to see how, everything changes. I feel like we've been on the earth for quite, a few years now, to be able to have seen, like different trends and how things have changing. And that's the beauty of life. I think nothing is static. It's always moving and evolving. And we definitely get a chance to grow with it and change with it by being in these industries that are so dynamic, right? Like we have to stay on top of the trends. Like you have to stay young. Like there's no way. It's either you stay young or you die. So yeah, with that said, like
Plus, it's much more fun. It's much more fun.
yeah, no, for sure. Obviously
Stay curious. Always stay curious.
stay a
Always.
kid all your life. Like you don't have to grow up, obviously. So that's definitely like super fun. Obviously, take responsibilities with everything, whatever. But like in terms of that, there's that part of like creativity and just always seeking and being curious that I think that people don't need to lose, right? Their innocence. So and that obviously, I think good storytelling can spark that that kind of like childlike, I would say, like innocence into people. Obviously depending what the story is. But I just want to say, like, we've been going on for way over time, lost in this conversation. Could obviously go for more. I am gonna, start closing off the stream because I know you both have
Yeah,
to go.
I have
I'm
to
gonna
go.
go get some dinner. But yeah, this has been great. I'm super excited to
Always a pleasure, and you're a great, great host. So thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Keep
thank
going.
appreciate it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch your other stuff.
Oh yeah, more coming soon. Nick, whenever you want, we're gonna do a stream together.
Yeah. I'll figure out some things we can talk about that don't
Or we
incriminate
just
me.
play games. It's fine too.
All
But yeah,
right, y'all.
excited. And for everybody watching, join the Battle for Hada Discord. Follow Jane, Nick, all the team. They're gonna be launching soon, and you want to be part of it. And also, I just launched my Twitch channel and my YouTube channel, so go follow it.
Oh yeah.
Camski TV. I'll obviously be streaming from there too from now on. So honestly, appreciate everybody that's been supporting the show, that's been supporting all the streams I've been doing. You guys are amazing. So much love. And yeah, there's gonna be obviously more content coming soon. So
Yeah, no, of course. And Battle for Hada coming soon. We're getting really excited, and we think it's going to be a great community. So we hope you join us.
soon.
Yeah,
All right, guys.
Discord.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Fun.
Bye. Have a nice night, day.
Bye.